But this car came into my father's shop when I was 16 years old. It came for a little scratch in the fender, and I fell in love with it at 16 years old. Now, normal kids when I was 16 were falling in love with Camaros and Mustangs and stuff.
Remember the roar of an engine brought back to life? For gearheads and history buffs alike, chasing classic cars was more than just a show. It was a journey. We joined Wayne Carrini and his crew, sharing in the thrill of the hunt, the meticulous restoration process, and the joy of seeing a forgotten beauty reborn. But the open road can take unexpected turns. The news that chasing classic cars had come to an end was a significant blow. The show, which had brought countless automotive dreams to life, was no longer on air. Theories about the show's demise circulated, including financial troubles, crew disputes, and even whispers of internal conflicts. However, beneath these surface-level explanations lay a more profound truth. In this video, we will explore the tragic accident that irrevocably altered the course of chasing classic cars. This story goes beyond the end of a television show. It touches on the human costs, the friendships that were tested, and the legacy left by those who pursued their passion for classic cars. It's about the human cost, the friendships forged and tested, and the legacy left behind by a group who dared to chase a dream on four wheels. In the television series Chasing Classic Cars, master restorer and Ferrari fanatic Wayne Carrini is followed as he searches for the most intriguing, unusual, and rare cars on the planet. It has been broadcast on the Velocity Network, a division of the Discovery Channel, for 9 seasons. Over the years, it has gained a significant following and has been one of the network's greatest hits. Viewers have embraced Carrini's demure yet approachable demeanor and have delighted in the program's remarkable finds, refurbishments, and celebrity appearances. Nothing is ever quite as it looks on film, of course. Everything experiences hardships, and events are frequently manipulated for the sake of the cameras. Add to that the typical ups and downs and turmoil behind the scenes of reality TV. Chasing classic cars is inextricably entwined with the grey areas of the restoration and vehicle auction industries. This means that in addition to guest stars and the world of vehicle auctions and pricing in general, we'll be examining everything from the reality behind the show itself. At first glance, every deal appears to be fantastic. People get paid extraordinary sums of money for their automobiles. However, things aren't always as they seem on programs like Chasing Classic Cars. There are always other considerations, and buyers at auto auctions, including the ones on this show, may have to spend far more than anticipated, due to fees and other expenses that can reach several $1,000s. Additionally, cars frequently lose value over time, which is how they get up at auctions in the first place. Naturally, that's not always the case, but it poses a risk at every auction and necessitates a thorough inspection of every car before it is sold or auctioned off. While there are undoubtedly some diamonds among the rough, there are also a lot of lemons around them. Buyers should exercise caution regarding these kinds of auctions, as they may have to pay far more than anticipated. Some expenses like titles and registration fees, common when buying any automobile, aren't too alarming, and customers should be prepared for them before attending an auction. However, there are many other expenses that purchasers may not anticipate and could throw them off completely. Specifics like reserve versus non-reserve autos, premium percentages, and other items can all contribute to consumers spending far more than anticipated. It's one of the most challenging aspects of any auction, impacting the show's auctions. There was much discussion about how precisely auto auctions should or could be regulated when they began to gain significant popularity in the late 1990s. After nearly 2 decades, only a shaky structure still doesn't always seem to protect everyone. The intriguing thing about auctions is that they don't have the direct, one-on-one interaction of a seller and the impersonality of a dealer. Most general auction laws don't seem to relate to auto auctions particularly. Even now, sellers and purchasers frequently receive less than what they had anticipated from many auctions, sometimes even more so for those involving rare or unique cars. This is just the way reality TV works. Making the individuals at the show's center appear to be experts on everything is crucial. Still, the guys on Pawn Stars aren't experts on everything that passes through their store, and the comic book men of Secret Stash haven't read every comic book ever published. Furthermore, Wayne Carrini isn't always sure what he's looking at and isn't in love with every car he sees. To fulfill shooting deadlines, get permission to air on television, and a host of other requirements that gradually sap the reality from reality TV, these things must be organized far in advance. Fans of Wayne Carrini do exist for sure. While some people think everything on the show is legal and legitimate, others have had less than ideal experiences. Many have noted that he comes across as a businessman first and foremost, with a substantial financial stake in the car, overshadowing any sentimental attachment to it. Still, some believe that Carrini is a flipper and enters many of these transactions just considering how much money he can make by reselling the rare or exotic vehicle. While opinions on whether Carrini is a flipper or a cunning business person differ, there is no denying the existence and intensity of the charges. The show's popularity is undoubtedly at its highest point ever, regardless of whether Carrini is profiting from the resale. The surfaced allegations have not had enough impact to negatively affect the show's popularity. Race car driver Dario Franchitti lost his racing career in a devastating 2013 collision. Franchitti was a guest on an episode of Chasing Classic Cars. Viewers were concerned that he had perished after the crash because it was so terrible, and he almost did. Franchitti had some long-term injuries from the crash, but he believes they are minor compared to the bigger picture. He suffers a 5-week memory lapse, during which he cannot recall specific words or phrases. However, the ex-driver is content with his existence. Franchitti appears to view being unable to race as a minor inconvenience, as long as it doesn't interfere with his ability to continue living. Despite the unfortunate circumstances, Franchitti maintains an optimistic attitude. Through his company Gooding & Company, David Gooding has auctioned off several cars for the show. Wayne Carrini and Chasing Classic Cars aren't the only businesses he's done business with as a professional. He broke a record in March last year when he sold a single Ferrari for $17 million. Later, he made almost $20 million from the sale of comedian Jerry Seinfeld's collection. Seinfeld loves vintage vehicles, as most people who know him well are undoubtedly aware of. But being able to sell them all at once for such a high price is a fantastic accomplishment. Gooding has noted that celebrity owners earn more money for their cars. For example, Seinfeld sold a VW Beetle for $120,000, but even so, this is an intriguing fact that demonstrates the potential of the vehicle auction industry as a whole. This is another incident that will happen often with these kinds of shows. Gooding met his match with this incredibly rare 1965 Ferrari 275 GTB when he appeared with specialist Johnny Lieberman, who seems to have free rein to drive almost any car he wants. Due to the exorbitant insurance expenses and the fact that the car was in immaculate factory condition and was anticipated to sell for between $2 and $4 million, Lieberman was not permitted to test drive the vehicle. When it comes to driving any automobile they want, even the experts on programs like Chasing Classic Cars don't necessarily have the keys to the kingdom. In classic car restoration, moments like these are unanticipated, making them all the more startling when they occur. Ron Moorhead has made appearances on 2 Chasing Classic Cars programs. In addition to being an intrepid traveler and self-described edge-seeker, he also has an intense fascination with Bigfoot. He has penned several articles discussing the potential existence of Sasquatch and added his signature sound, known as the Sierra Sounds, to Bigfoot folklore. According to him, Bigfoot speaks a language that can be understood like any other language. In the opinion of many Sasquatch fans and cryptozoologists, Moorhead's recordings of the Sierra Sounds are the best audio records of Bigfoot activity ever made. By all accounts, Moorhead does not keep his hobbies a secret, and has written extensively about how seriously he takes his Bigfoot study. When Chasing Classic Cars started, technician Roger Barr ran the repair shop and was unquestionably in control of the restoration of the vintage vehicles Carrini discovered. Wayne used to assist Roger at his repair shop in the next town. The two men crossed paths decades ago when Wayne was just 10. Because of his straightforward demeanor, Barr was well liked by viewers, and the show's success was partly attributed to their on-screen chemistry. Barr once owned a garage in the town where Wayne Carrini was raised. Carrini's father cared for the domestic cars, while Barr concentrated on fixing foreign ones. Barr worked on automobiles and had a second career as a race car driver in the auto industry, competing in a few events during the 1960s and 1970s. Barr secured his employment as a technician for auto racing teams, and he even accomplished a few victories in Formula B and Formula 5 national championship events. Fans quickly noticed when the grumpy technician Roger Barr left the show because he was vital to chasing classic cars. At F40 Motorsports, Carrini's garage was shown on the show, and he suffered a minor injury that required time off due to an infection. Upon his return, he was only able to work part-time hours. After it was revealed that Roger received no compensation for his appearances on the show, viewers created an online account to raise money for his medical expenses. Each episode of Chasing Classic Cars may center on the restoration process. Still, the most thrilling part is frequently watching Carrini and his crew search the nation and even the globe for vintage vehicles, some of which haven't been driven for decades. The team discovered a 1938 Bugatti Type 57C Adelante coupe hidden in the show's first episode for 50 years. Carrini also found a barn in the Adirondacks with over 40 vintage vehicles. Carrini has spent decades searching for ancient cars, and while he has made some genuinely significant discoveries, the holy grail of vintage automobiles, a 1960 Ferrari 250 SWB, has eluded him. Although he has restored a handful of these uncommon supercars on behalf of clients and has been fortunate enough to drive one, he hasn't yet been able to obtain one. Carrini would be set for life if he could locate one, as the 1960 Ferrari 250 SWB models went for almost $10 million at auction. Carrini did not want to pursue a long-term career in the automotive sector, even though he began fiddling with vehicles when he was a small lad and assisted his dad and Roger Barr at their repair shops. He started his studies to become an architect, but then changed his focus to art education in anticipation of eventually working as a college professor. He accepted a job at his dad's repair shop while waiting for the ideal chance. The rest is history. Chasing Classic Cars fans may recognize the garage of F40 Motorsports in Portland, Connecticut, as it is the location for numerous filming scenes. However, Wayne Carrini owns more than one auto business. In addition to owning two other Portland garages, Continental Auto Limited specializes in high-end sports car repairs, and Carrini Carrozzeria, where the vintage cars are repaired and restored. Where many of the workshop scenes are filmed, F40 is the company that buys and sells vintage cars. Before the launch of Chasing Classic Cars, Wayne Carrini, like many of the automotive reality TV celebrities, made a few cameos on other shows. Carrini assisted the team in overhauling and appeared in an episode of Dennis Gage's YouTube series, My Classic Car. Wayne stays silent on the show when discussing his automobile collection. For Wayne Carrini, vintage vehicles are his obsession, and it is one of those things. Wayne's collection of 25 vintage cars is understandable, given that he fell in love with them while working with his father to restore classic cars in elementary school. This information shouldn't appear out of place for a seasoned historic automobile collector and restorer who's been collecting for many years. The exciting items Wayne keeps in his attic are seen in this movie, including a tractor, a few vintage vehicles, auto parts, and even some automotive literature. Given the importance of Wayne Carrini's father, Bob Carrini, in the vintage vehicle industry, it is not unexpected that his son was motivated to carry on the family business. In 1952, Carrini Sr. founded the first Ford Model A restorers organization in the United States and organized a museum in Connecticut, specializing in Ford Model A automobiles. The Antique Automobile Club of America recognized Bob with a Lifetime Achievement Award. At the age of 93, he tragically died in 2016. Ed China, the star of Wheeler Dealers, departed the show earlier this year, claiming Velocity was too much interfering with the production and that they intended to make modifications that would significantly worsen the show. Velocity decided to take over the show's output this year instead of just distributing it. However, they said it was too difficult to make after that decision. They intended to impose modifications, resulting in a far more cost-effective series, since they felt that producing it in its existing structure would be too expensive. That network turmoil would undoubtedly affect Velocity's other programs, such as Chasing Classic Cars. In this instance, China and many viewers agreed that eliminating the workshop scenes as the network intended to do would ruin what made the show unique. Discovery, a considerably bigger player in reality TV, owns Velocity. This long-running cable powerhouse has been leading the charge in the evolution of documentary programming, but its massive productivity has come at a price, as evidenced by what may be, at best, astronomical oversight, and at worst, the network's deliberate decision to air material that purposefully distorts or ignores the truth to provide entertaining television. Fraud has led to the arrests of Highway to Sell, Alaskan Bush People, and stars of American Guns. That's a lot, even for a major TV network with that kind of output. The network had caused a stir a few years prior when Sons of Guns star Will Hayden was detained on suspicion of child molestation. Tim Allen, a famed comedian from the 1990s, stopped by Chasing Classic Cars for a short appearance. Allen, a vocal conservative, said earlier this year that Hollywood's liberal outlook was reminiscent of Germany in the 1930s. He said a lot about how he thinks Hollywood bullies anyone who backs Donald Trump, and his remarks, especially the one in which he likened the present state of affairs to Nazi Germany, have not gone over well with almost anybody. The well-known comedian Tim Allen appeared briefly at Chasing Classic Cars in the 1990s. The outspoken conservative Allen claimed earlier this year that the liberal viewpoint of Hollywood was akin to that of Germany in the 1930s. He has made frequent comments about how he believes that Hollywood intimidates anyone who supports Donald Trump. Most people have not responded well to Jay Leno's comparison of the current situation to Nazi Germany. Jay Leno, a comedian known for his passion for automobiles and his appearances on Chasing Classic Cars, stirred controversy when he made this comparison. Leno's departure from The Tonight Show sparked a major shift in the late-night landscape. When he announced he was leaving the show, it created a significant stir, and Conan O'Brien, who had long aspired to host The Tonight Show, finally achieved his dream. However, O'Brien's tenure was short-lived, as Leno returned to reclaim the show after only a year. This decision by the network to reinstate Leno was influenced by his long tenure and popularity. Ironically, when Leno first took over The Tonight Show, he faced challenges. His initial ratings were underwhelming, and he was involved in prolonged feuds with other comedians and late-night hosts, including Arsenio Hall and David Letterman.